We live in a world that often gets strength wrong. We've been taught to believe that power is loud, that it's found in the person with the most commanding voice, the most aggressive stance, or the most unyielding opinion. It's the boardroom brawler, the tireless hustler, the one who never backs down. We see this model of power celebrated everywhere, in movies, in business, and in our daily lives. We learn early on that to be seen as strong, you must be dominant, you must push, and you must assert your will over others. This narrow definition leaves so many of us feeling like we don't measure up, especially those of us who lead with our hearts instead of our fists. This story of power is not just incomplete, it's deeply misleading. It creates a culture where we mistake volume for value and aggression for authority. It teaches us to armor up, to hide our vulnerabilities, and to believe that our softer, more compassionate sides are liabilities. We start to believe that being sensitive is being weak, that listening is less important than speaking, and that pausing to feel is a waste of time. This myth forces us into a box, demanding we perform a version of strength that feels unnatural and disconnected from who we truly are. It's an exhausting and soul-crushing way to live, constantly striving to be someone we are not. But what if we've had it all wrong? What if real, sustainable power doesn't always roar? What if it whispers? What if it's found not in the ability to dominate, but in the courage to connect? What if strength is measured by our capacity for empathy, our resilience in the face of shame, and our willingness to be truly seen? This is where the conversation about feminine energy begins. It's not about gender. It's about a different way of being, a different source of power that exists within all of us. It's the quiet, steady strength that nurtures, heals, and builds bridges instead of walls. Challenging this myth is the first step toward reclaiming a more wholehearted and authentic way of living. It requires us to get brave and question the definitions we've been handed down. It asks us to look for strength in the quiet moments, in the gentle gestures, and in the deep wells of our own emotional lives. True power is not about being impenetrable. It's about having the courage to be open. It's about understanding that our softness, our intuition, and our ability to feel deeply are not weaknesses to be overcome, but profound superpowers waiting to be unleashed. Feminine energy is a force of nature. It's the magnetic, creative, and life-giving current that flows through the universe. Unlike the direct, linear force of masculine energy, which is about doing, achieving, and pushing forward, feminine energy is about being, flowing, and attracting. It's the calm center in the middle of a storm, the deep well of inspiration from which new ideas are born. It doesn't need to shout to be heard, its presence is felt. This energy is inherently healing and uplifting, creating spaces where people feel safe enough to be their true selves, to let down their guard, and to connect on a meaningful level. Think about the people you are most drawn to. Often they aren't the loudest or most commanding individuals in the room. They are the ones who listen with their whole being, who make you feel seen and understood without saying a word. They possess a quiet confidence that emanates from a deep sense of self-awareness and acceptance. This is feminine energy in action. It's a magnetic quality that pulls people in, not through force, but through genuine warmth and compassion. It's the power to create community, to foster collaboration, and to remind us of our shared humanity in a world that often encourages division. This energy is also profoundly healing. It's the hand that reaches out in a moment of struggle, the empathetic ear that listens without judgment, and the patient presence that holds space for someone else's pain. In a culture that prizes quick fixes and moving on, feminine energy understands the importance of sitting with discomfort. It knows that true healing happens when we allow ourselves to feel our emotions fully, rather than suppressing them or rushing through them. This is not a passive act. It is an act of incredible strength and courage, one that creates ripples of positive change in our families, workplaces, and communities. Ultimately, feminine energy invites us to redefine our understanding of power. It shows us that true influence comes not from controlling others, but from empowering them. It's the power to inspire, to nurture growth, and to lead with love. It's about building relationships based on trust and mutual respect, rather than on hierarchy and competition. When we tap into this energy, we become a source of light for ourselves and for those around us. We become more creative, more intuitive, and more aligned with our purpose, creating a life that feels not just successful, but deeply fulfilling. Nature is our greatest teacher when it comes to understanding feminine power. Look at water. It is the perfect metaphor for this gentle, yielding strength. Water is soft, fluid, and adaptable. It doesn't resist obstacles. It flows around them. It can fit into any container, taking its shape without losing its essence. Yet, over time, this same soft water can carve canyons out of solid rock. It doesn't do this through brute force, but through persistence, patience, and a steady, unwavering presence. Water teaches us that yielding is not the same as surrendering. It shows us that there is immense power in flexibility and in the ability to adapt to changing circumstances. Then consider the flower. A flower does not struggle to bloom. It doesn't fight its way out of the ground or strain to open its petals. It simply turns toward the sun and in its own time unfolds into its full beauty. Its power lies in its vulnerability and its inherent trust in the process of growth. A flower's strength is not in its ability to command attention, but in its capacity to attract it effortlessly. Bees, butterflies, and people are all drawn to its color, its fragrance, and its simple, elegant presence. The flower reminds us that we don't have to hustle for our worth. We can simply be, and our unique beauty will naturally shine through. These metaphors from the natural world challenge our conventional ideas about strength. They show us that power doesn't have to be rigid, loud, or aggressive. It can be soft, quiet, and resilient. Like water, we can learn to navigate life's challenges with grace and flexibility, wearing down obstacles through our persistence rather than trying to smash through them. Like a flower, we can learn to trust our own timing, to embrace our vulnerability, and to allow ourselves to bloom without force. This is the essence of feminine power, a deep, grounded strength that is rooted in being, not just doing. Connecting with this natural wisdom requires us to slow down and observe. It asks us to spend time in nature and notice the subtle, powerful forces at play. It encourages us to see the strength in softness and the resilience in yielding. When we begin to see the world through this lens, we can start to apply these lessons to our own lives. We can learn to flow with life's currents instead of fighting against them, and we can cultivate the courage to open up and share our unique gifts with the world, just as a flower shares its beauty without reservation. In our hyper-productive culture, we are conditioned to be givers, doers, and achievers. We are praised for our ability to juggle multiple tasks, to work long hours, and to constantly be in motion. The act of receiving, on the other hand, is often viewed with suspicion. We may see it as a sign of weakness, dependence, or even laziness. We feel guilty accepting help, awkward when receiving a compliment, and uncomfortable when we have nothing to do. We have mastered the art of giving, but we have forgotten how to receive. This imbalance cuts us off from a vital source of energy, joy, and connection. Feminine energy, at its core, is receptive. It is the open space that allows life to flow in. It's the fertile ground that receives the seed and nurtures it into life. To embrace our feminine power, we must learn to embrace the art of receiving. This means being open to accepting support, love, and abundance from the world around us. It's about understanding that we are worthy of receiving good things simply because we exist, not because we have earned them through relentless effort. Receiving is not a passive act. It is an active choice to open ourselves up and let nourishment in. Learning to receive can feel incredibly vulnerable. It requires us to let go of our need for control and our fear of being indebted to others. It asks us to trust that it is safe to be supported and that accepting help does not diminish our strength. We can start small. The next time someone offers you a compliment, instead of deflecting it, try simply saying, "Thank you." When a friend offers to help you with a task, practice accepting their offer without feeling the need to immediately repay them. These small acts of receiving begin to rewire our brains and open up new channels for connection and support. When we allow ourselves to receive, we create a beautiful cycle of reciprocity. When we are full, we have more to give. When we are rested, we have more energy to create. When we feel loved and supported, we are better able to extend that love and support to others. Embracing receiving is not selfish. It is essential for our well-being and for our ability to show up fully in the world. It is a powerful act of self-love and a fundamental aspect of reclaiming our feminine strength, allowing us to move from a place of depletion to a place of overflowing abundance. One of the most potent aspects of feminine energy is its deep connection to intuition. Intuition is that quiet inner voice, that gut feeling, that sense of knowing without knowing why. In a world that prioritizes logic, data, and tangible evidence, we are often taught to dismiss our intuition as fanciful or unreliable. We learn to second-guess our inner wisdom and to look outside of ourselves for answers. But our intuition is a powerful internal compass, a guidance system that is uniquely attuned to our deepest truths. It is a superpower that, when honed, can lead us toward our most authentic and fulfilling life path. Feminine energy invites us to honor this inner knowing. It encourages us to slow down, to get quiet, and to listen to the subtle messages that our bodies and souls are constantly sending us. Tapping into our intuition requires practice and trust. It means paying attention to the feelings that arise in our bodies, the knot in our stomach, the sense of expansion in our chest, the shiver down our spine. These are not random sensations. They are data points from our inner world, providing us with valuable information that logic alone cannot access. Trusting our intuition is an act of courage, a declaration that we are the ultimate authority on our own lives. Alongside intuition comes the gift of emotional depth. Feminine energy is not afraid of feelings. It understands that our emotions, all of them, are valuable messengers. Joy, sadness, anger, and fear are not things to be suppressed or avoided. They are meant to be felt, honored, and understood. Emotional mastery is not about controlling our feelings or pretending they don't exist. It's about having the capacity to sit with our emotions without being overwhelmed by them, to listen to what they are trying to tell us, and to use that wisdom to guide our actions. This emotional intelligence is a hallmark of true strength. When we combine our intuition with our emotional depth, we become incredibly powerful. We are able to navigate the complexities of life and relationships with greater wisdom and compassion. We can make decisions that are aligned not just with our minds, but with our hearts and souls. We learn to trust ourselves more deeply and to move through the world with a sense of grounded confidence. Reclaiming our intuition and embracing our full emotional range are essential steps in unleashing our feminine power and living a more wholehearted, guided, and authentic life. For too long, leadership has been defined by a narrow, masculine-coded set of traits: command, control, decisiveness, and force. The traditional model of a leader is someone who stands at the top of a hierarchy, issuing directives and demanding compliance. While this style can be effective in certain contexts, it often leaves people feeling disempowered, unseen, and uninspired. It's a model based on power over others rather than power with others. Feminine energy offers a different blueprint for leadership, one that is rooted in connection, compassion, and collaboration. It's about leading from the heart. Leading from the heart means prioritizing people over profits and empathy over authority. A heart-centered leader understands that their primary role is to create a safe and supportive environment where everyone feels valued and empowered to contribute their unique gifts. They don't lead through fear or intimidation. They lead through inspiration and encouragement. They are skilled listeners who seek to understand different perspectives. And they are not afraid to be vulnerable and admit when they don't have all the answers. This style of leadership fosters trust, loyalty, and a deep sense of shared purpose. This reimagined leadership is not about being soft or avoiding difficult conversations. On the contrary, it requires immense courage. It takes courage to choose compassion when you're feeling angry, to stay curious when you're feeling defensive, and to hold people accountable with kindness rather than with shame. A leader guided by feminine energy understands that true accountability is about upholding clear boundaries and expectations, while also seeing the humanity in the person in front of them. It's about guiding and mentoring, not commanding and controlling. This approach builds resilience and fosters genuine growth in individuals and teams. This powerful form of influence is available to all of us, whether we hold a formal leadership title or not. We can lead from the heart in our families, in our friendships, and in our communities. It starts with how we show up in our daily interactions. Do we listen to understand, or do we listen to reply? Do we offer grace, or do we rush to judgment? Do we build bridges, or do we create divides? By choosing to lead with love, empathy, and compassion, we contribute to a more connected and humane world. We become the change we wish to see, one heartfelt interaction at a time. The journey to embracing your feminine power is, at its core, a journey back to yourself. It's about stripping away the layers of conditioning that told you to be smaller, quieter, or tougher than you really are. It's about giving yourself permission to be fully, authentically you. This means accepting your softness not as a weakness, but as a source of profound strength. Your ability to feel deeply, to connect with others, and to lead with your heart is not something to be hidden. It is your unique gift to the world, a power that is desperately needed right now. Connecting with this power is a daily practice, not a one-time event. You can begin by intentionally creating moments of rest and stillness in your day, allowing your nervous system to settle and your inner voice to emerge. Practice the art of receiving by graciously accepting compliments, help, and love. Find ways to express your creativity, whether it's through journaling, dancing, or gardening. Surround yourself with people and environments that nourish your soul and make you feel safe to be vulnerable. These small, intentional acts are the building blocks of a life lived in alignment with your feminine essence. Remember, your feminine power is an essential part of the world's ecosystem. Just as the world needs the sun, it also needs the moon. It needs the force of the mountain, but it also needs the flexibility of the river. Your gentle strength, your intuitive wisdom, and your compassionate heart bring balance to a world that is often out of sync. Your presence matters. Your softness is not a liability, it is a revolution. In a world that shouts, your whisper can be the most powerful sound of all. Don't ever underestimate the impact of your quiet, resilient strength. So, I invite you to take a moment today and reflect. Where in your life are you being called to be softer? Where can you trade armor for openness? How can you honor your intuition and lead with more compassion, starting with yourself? The world is waiting for you to show up in your full, authentic power. Embrace your softness, honor your depth, trust your inner knowing. You are stronger than you think, and your unique feminine energy is exactly what the world needs to heal, to connect, and to become whole.